So everything that he says, so we got to break it down, right? So movement and then like biohacking stuff and then like supplements. So as far as like movement, yes, obviously you need to work out to build, skeletal muscle. You need that. Why is that important? Because as you get older, people die when they fall. And
Mhm.
it sounds dumb for a young person because like young people fall all the time. It's like, whatever, like, why would I die if I fell? But as you get older and more brittle, if you break your hip, you can't move anymore. Your blood doesn't circulate. And now you have a whole host of problems. It's kind of like a car. If one thing goes wrong, then if you don't get that fixed, the next thing goes wrong. And before you know it, the car blows up. So it is important as you get older to work out. You should always be working out and not to be like a bodybuilder. You just want to put on some type of muscle, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so that would be one. I think cardio is extremely important. I do fasted cardio every morning. I have a walking pad right here in my condo that I literally wake up, I take my EAAs and I put on like White Lotus or whatever I'm watching at the time and I go walk on the pad and
I
I just
saw
walk.
that. I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
That looked so cool.
Yeah. I walk on every single morning. Yeah. It's amazing. It's like $600, best investment I've ever bought in my entire life.
I'm writing that down.
It's important because one, I don't have to drive to the gym.
Mhm.
I wake up, I drink my drink, I put it on. Second, I have my flat screen TV right in front of me so I can watch TV and I just walk on the thing. And then I'm saving time. I'm being more efficient. I'm not making that commute. And then the reason why I even bought it is because I went to the gym one time and I was running late for something. And I'm typically not running late because I'm very proactive in all aspects of life. I was running late and I went to the gym and all the treadmills were filled. And I was so mad because I wasted my time driving 5 minutes to the gym. Then all the treadmills were filled. I couldn't wait around because I was like, well, if I do even 30 minutes of cardio, I need to get on like right now. And,
Mhm.
What am I going to say? Hey, bro, how many more minutes you got? So I turned back around, wasted all that time, and I never got the cardio. I said, fuck it. Since then, I went online, I found one, and bam, I bought it. And since then, it's been game changer. Like all those commutes and I go to the gym afterwards too. So technically, that'd be 2 drives to the gym. If you calculate that over a year, you're
Mhm.
probably spending a couple weeks just driving to the gym.
So with your cardio, does it matter if you're doing like you said, like walking, or does it have to be like really intense running or sprints? Is there a difference long term?
For longevity,
Yeah.
I I don't know actually the details on that. I think they're both good.
Mhm.
Fasted cardio is good for losing weight. It's
For
very good.
men.
Well,
If
even for women too, you just have to drink EAAs.
What's that?
So it's essential amino acids, but
Okay.
it's like BCAAs, but you're getting all the essential amino acids. The reason why you want that is so your muscles don't break down while you're in a fasted state. So when I say fasted, I don't mean like you're fasting like for 2 days. I mean like literally you ate dinner, you went to sleep, you woke up, and then you started walking, right? So it's more of like intermittent fasting.
Well, yeah, so even intermittent fasting for a lot of women actually has a reverse effect. So, unless you're very aware of where you are in your cycle and then you're properly aligning it with that segment, like you can't do it all of the time. It would have to be when you're like least susceptible to stress. But most women, because our bodies are designed to give birth, like that's our number one priority. It's like if you have too much cortisol, or if your body thinks that there's too much of an outside risk going on, you actually start storing a lot more fat. So if you're doing intermittent fasting or like fasted cardio, some women do well on it, but a lot of women do not. So it's like if you want to play around with it, I think that's great, but just like keep a diary or a journal and like note how you feel and like whether or not you're losing muscle mass or fat and how
For
that's
sure, yeah.
stacking up. Because for me, I was like one of those women that was having a very adverse response, like not the idea of why I wanted to do it.
How long were you fasting? Because like how many women eat dinner, wake up, and then don't eat for like 2 hours?
Oh, yeah, I would do that. I'd have like black coffee and then go to the gym.
Yeah, but like how many women that aren't even like focused on intermittent fasting, like they'll just wake up
Oh,
and
oh,
not eat
oh.
breakfast for like an hour.
Oh, a lot, and that's probably terrible for them, and that's
Yeah,
probably why they have brain fog and a little bit
yeah,
of extra weight around, like, their arms and their belly and their thighs,
yeah,
because that's all where you store your fat for breastfeeding and carrying a baby.
yeah.
So
So
I
I don't know
wish.
about women,
Yeah.
but if you want to lose weight, the best thing that I've seen in a fasted state is I take a fat burner called Raoul sign, which is like it's a very buffered version of Yohembine. It's not a good feeling. Like it's a very weird feeling. Johanbein, just you feel like yeah.
Mm.
But Raoul sign is a more like cleaner version of that. But taking like Raoul sign, the second you wake up, taking Raoul sign, drinking EAAs, and doing fasted cardio, like whew, you will stay jacked and shred down so fast. It's ridiculous.
Just ready to
So
go.
yeah. Also, another thing too is even if you eat like a high carbohydrate meal after you eat, and obviously this is like super inconvenient, but walking 15 to 20 minutes after you eat anything will drop the spike up to 50%, right? So if you eat like a bunch of sugar and you
Mhm.
sit down versus you eat a bunch of sugar and go walk, you can like blunt that. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Also on cheat days, and also blood sugars for longevity. Blood sugar controlling your blood sugar is very important. I
Mhm.
take a supplement called dihydroberberine, so it's berberine, but it's considered super berberine because it absorbs way more and it just utilized better. Your body actually takes dihydroberberine because it's more absorbable and then converts it into regular berberine. But berberine basically blocks your blood glucose levels from spiking. So if the reason why when you eat tons of sugar and carbs, when you eat that, your blood glucose goes to the roof, your insulin goes to the roof, and you store all that.
Mhm.
Well, by taking super berberine, you block all of that. So on your next cheat day, if you don't want to store the fat and you don't want to feel like, you don't want to feel, oh man, I can't believe I ate that bag of chips or whatever. You take dihydroberberine. I think there's only one company that sells it on Amazon. It's a green label, dihydroberberine or super berberine. You take it 20 to 30 minutes prior to eating like high carbohydrates or high sugar, and you take that right before 20 minutes before, and then you can eat whatever you want, and you'll blunt that effect from storing, so it'll be just normal. That's a big hack that I found.
Is that similar to metformin? Because I know there's a lot of studies, or there were, that were calling metformin the fountain of youth pill, and then they were also saying the benefits of keeping your blood sugar and glucose levels in check for longevity purposes.
Yeah, so there's actually been studies, believe it or not, that they say that dihydroberberine outperforms metformin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's the same concept. Yeah,
Okay, interesting. So, are there any side effects with, how do you say it?
it's dihydroberberine. Yeah, just super berberine.
Dihydroberberine.
Yeah,
Super berberine.
dihydro.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
super
no side
berberine.
effects that you know of.
No, not that
Okay.
I know of. No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it actually outperformed metformin in the studies, and it has the same like you would take metformin and dihydroberberine for the same purpose.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So I take metformin, and I didn't know any of this. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, so
Mhm,
it helps with that, and I started taking it in early 20s. But
mhm,
one of the awful things, and I kind of like tend to not take it as much as I should during the summertime, is it makes you really sensitive to light, so you can sunburn really easy. And I noticed like my
mhm.
skin was just not, it didn't have the pigment that it normally did, just like natural baseline. So I kinda, like, cycle on and off of that, so I'd be interested to try that to see if I can go
I
out
go
in the
out in the
sun.
sun. I'm petrified of skin cancer and aging. So the last time I went out in the sun was, thank God I'm like half Italian, so I'm not completely pale.
So we got, weights, cardio, we have that supplement. Is there anything else that is part of your longevity protocol?
Yeah, so there is one supplement, astragalus, that I take. Now, there used to be a supplement, I think it was called T2 on Amazon. It was like $400-500 supplement,
Whoa.
and they were saying like all the scientific breakthrough of like basically blunting the shortage of your telomeres, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sure you know about telomeres. Like you're born with all these like amazing telomeres, and as you get older, they shorten and shorten and shorten, and then eventually you die, right? So if you can, scientists believe that if you can halt or blunt the telomere shrinking, then theoretically, in theory, you would live longer, right? Because you're not aging, you're blunting or hindering the aging process. There was one study that kind of showed that astragalus um, hindered telomere shortening. So there used to be a supplement, and people would pay $400 or $500 on Amazon to get it, and I guess it kind of lost some of the hype. But the active ingredient was astragalus, and it cost like $20. So I take that you know, just for shits and giggles, just to make sure. Another one is that I take is ubiquitol which
I've
is
heard of that.
coenzyme 10's final version, right? So like when you take coenzyme 10, your body has to convert it into ubiquitol. But as you get older, it's very hard for your body to convert coenzyme 10 into ubiquitol. So I just like to take the final form. And then there was this story, PJ Braun. He's a I don't know if he's still bodybuilding, but he's ex-bodybuilder, and he had a guy that he worked out with that needed a heart transplant, and like his heart was completely screwed, and the doctor was like, "Well, we have hearts on the way, but hopefully you live this long. Like we don't know if you'll last until you get your heart." So he just like mega dosed ubiquitol, which is like super expensive because a bottle of ubiquitol is like $50, and it's like a serving size is one capsule, and he was taking, which is like 100 milligrams. He was taking 900 milligrams a day because at that point it's like, who gives a shit about the money? Like I just don't want to die.
Yeah.
So he did that for 3 months, and his heart regenerated and was taken off the list, and he never got a heart transplant. And
Whoa.
yeah, so I take that. I take a maintenance dose of 400 milligrams, which is 4 times the amount that is like the serving size, but it's like about half the size that he took, just to make sure that my heart is perfect. And ever since I heard that story, like it resonated with me. So I take ubiquitol. I take it from now supplements. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wrote that one down.
Yeah. And it's super expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah, as are most supplements. I think it's important to note that there's a lot of garbage out there. So you want to make sure that you're going with like a trusted brand that has third-party testing, and it's not like a bunch of tea leaves in there, because that does happen.
Yeah. The best brands that I've found was Thorne. Thorne is one of the top brands for sports supplements, Gorilla Mind. And then now nutrition is pretty good, but Thorne is like by far, if you can find a pure, like if you're looking for a supplement and it's made by Thorne, that's the best one. They sponsor the UFC. The UFC has USADA testing. There's no like shenanigans. Like USADA tests everything, like peptides, everything. And Thorne is the one that sponsors the UFC. So all the UFC fighters take Thorne. Well, they're given Thorne. They probably are sponsored and take other stuff too, but that's the one that the UFC trusts. And the UFC's testing protocol is like by far outweighs every single other sports organization. Like it's not even close. It's very hard to cheat in the UFC, like with taking steroids and peptides. So Thorne is a very, very reputable brand. It's probably the best one I know of. But I mean, there's a ton of them. But just to keep it simple, Thorne or Now Nutrition.